Hey everyone, AMR back again with another tier list video. So in this one, we are going to be covering the Super Smash Bros. Brawl Edition. This is one of those video games that I grew up playing a lot. So this came out, like the Melee version came out when I was about, I want to say like 3 or 4 years old. And then Brawl came out probably a couple years later after that. Well, probably a lot longer than that actually. But occasionally when I do go back home to my hometown, me and my friends end up playing this quite a lot. It is one of those games that just never gets old. Alright, so I went ahead and changed up what these categories are. So we have, like, I'm sure as everyone does when it comes to Super Smash Bros, you have a go-to character, you have if the go-to is already taken, so you're playing with some friends and then they choose that character and you guys don't want to actually have some like duplicates. This would be like the people that you would go with as like your second, third, fourth best. Changing it up is just like maybe you ran through the gamut of some of the players that you're very familiar playing with, and now you're just trying to change things up a little bit. And then you have the second to last category here is like, okay, I think I'm getting pretty good at this game. Let me go ahead and switch over to the character that I think I'm okay with and see if I'm actually OP with them yet. So they're not necessarily like dog shit, but they're pretty close to it. And then the last one is, of course, just don't ever do this. Don't choose to be this character for whatever reason. It could be kind of interesting. Everyone kind of has like that favorite character, if you will. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first up, we have Bowser. Oh, buddy. Bowser, I think, is one of those ones that goes into your see if you are good or not. He has that move where he kind of like goes into his turtle and then like rolls around. It's actually a pretty fun animation, and if you can get the player to get spun up on top of the shell there, he'll actually go boom, go flying up into the air. It's actually really fun. He's definitely very slow. He's a heavy base character, so don't choose him if you're going up against like a Pikachu. You're just gonna lose. Pikachu is way too fast. And Bowser is like, I'm gonna hit you 3 times and like knock you out. He's kind of like Mike Tyson, if you will. And then Pikachu's gonna be like more like a Floyd Mayweather, hit you 1,000 times and just rack up the damage. So Captain Falcon, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the changing it up category. A lot of people like live or die by Captain Falcon, like Falcon punch, and I just kind of don't get it a whole lot. I don't like how hard it is to cancel out of his animation once he starts it, and once he starts it, I mean, he's gonna go a good 10 yards across the map with that punch. If he lands it, it's awesome, but it's kind of like, it's a hit or miss character for me. He has a lot of really cool things that he does, but for the most part, to me, it just, I don't like his character a whole lot. So Charizard, I'm going to go ahead and put in the don't ever choose. I mean, I think that this is kind of like one of those Pokemon that I just kind of switch over when I'm using the Pokemon trainer, which is right here. I don't really like Charizard. I love when he comes out of the Pokeball, like when you have the items turned on. But actually using him, again, he's a heavy character. It's really hard to get used to like some of his animations. And overall, I think that you get more, I don't know what to say. Like you get more flexibility with a Bulbasaur or a Squirtle. I think that the Squirtle character has more to offer. And then of course you have a Bulbasaur who has the vines, or is that Ivysaur? Okay, it might be Ivysaur. I'm mistaken. We have Ivysaur and Squirtle, and Ivysaur has the Ivies, so it's got to be that he's able to grapple along, and I just think that they offer a whole lot more than a Charizard. So next up here, we have Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong, I'm going to go ahead and put in don't choose ever. I think that he is ass. He's got like this peanut gun that I think is just more of like a meme type character. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, if you're going to go with a Donkey Kong type character, just go big or go home. Go with Donkey Kong. He's got so many more cool animations, and he's next up on this list. Let's go ahead and talk about him. So Donkey Kong, I think, is one of those characters that you're going to use if you want to change it up. He's got a lot of fun animations where, you know, you can and like do all kind of stupid animation with Donkey Kong, and he's really fun because you can just like dick around a little bit when you're playing with Donkey Kong. He's a heavy character, but if you know how to play his character correctly, then you're actually kind of little overpowered with him. I played against people that are just like untouchable with Donkey Kong. And his stupid animation where he's like, boom, 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 boom. You get caught in that, and it's just so stupid. It's definitely a meme character, and I like to do it when I'm changing it up, but he's not my go-to, and he's definitely not my go-to if my go-to's taken, if that makes sense. Falco, I think, is probably one of my if go-to is taken. Him and Fox are kind of very interchangeable, so I'm just going to go ahead and put Fox up here as well. Fox and Falco are very interchangeable characters for me. I really like the ability to deflect certain things when you're with Falco. He's also super fast. He's got his little laser gun. He's pretty annoying of a character. He's bouncing around a lot, similar to how fast Fox is. And those two, to me, I'm definitely more of like a fast, like run and gun, like try and evade the pressure back and forth. I actually messed this up. That's Wolf. This is Fox. Sorry for everyone watching, but you have Falco and Fox here, and I really like Fox's map with the starship. Those two things these two characters are very, very fun to play with. They're very fast-paced. They do not take a lot of damage though, so you have to be evasive, but that's kind of the nature of their character anyway. Next up is Ganondorf. I'm gonna put Ganondorf in changing it up. So Ganondorf is one of those players that I don't know, him and Captain Falcon are pretty much the exact same character, minus a thing here or there. They have the same animation where like they zoom across the map and then they like pick people up and they throw them down, kind of thing. And Ganondorf is so memey of a character because he has like this super like powered punch thing that if you land it, I mean, it's like almost a KO on first impact. And he's just such a dipshit. He's so slow. He's really hard to maneuver with, but he's super fun to play with because he is a heavy. He's just definitely not a go-to character. And I've seen some people like in professional settings when I'm watching some of these like competitive scenes, people are good with Ganondorf, but he's pretty freaking hard to put up a fight against like a Fox or a Falco just because they're so fast and evasive. Next up is Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers for me are one of my go-tos. So hate me if you must, but I am one of those bitch characters that sits on the one side of the map and then just hits the ice down the map, making my opponent have to jump up, jump up, jump up. And as they get close, then I do the two mallets, swinging back and forth, and then my character gets bombed back the other way, rinse and repeat. I also think that it is a very, very cool ability to have one of your ice climbers fall off the map. I don't know why there's two of them. That seems redundant. Especially when it's the same ice climber. Like, it's not even the other ice climber. Oh, I think it might just be a mix-up. I don't know. Let's go ahead and just put... Is there another ice climber on here? One second. So it looks like that's all the ice climbers. Even though there's only two, I think that this one right here... Let's go ahead and put them down. But there are two ice climbers in the set, and so if one of them dies off, then you're able to continue playing on as long as it is the female of the two. I believe that's correct. But they also have a really, really cool ability to jump back up where they like kind of like slingshot one another. I don't know. If you're good with the ice climbers, I think that you can be really, really deadly. And I've gotten pretty damn good with the ice climbers. I think it's one of those fun things. I used to have a Nintendo Switch, and I went ham with the ice climbers. Next up, we have Ike. So Ike is one of those other go-to type characters for me. When I'm not trying to be such a pest to my opponent, I feel like Ike is a very good secondary type player. Wait a minute. That looks like Ike. No, this is Ike. Who the fuck is that? Next up over here, we have Ike. So I got kind of confused here for a little bit and actually had to cut for a second. I wasn't sure if this was Ike or if this was Mike or if this was Ike, but this is actually Marth, I believe. Go ahead and shit on me in the comments if you want, but I don't care. That's what I'm going with. You know who I'm talking about. But Ike here has the ability to deflect. He is very, very annoying of a character because he not only is he fast, but he can also be a heavy hitting damage type character. If you hit someone with the tip of his sword, it deals like twice the amount of damage. I'm pretty sure that's not a myth. I've gotten pretty damn good with Ike, and it definitely feels that way. I think Marth, since I'm on the topic of him, I'm gonna go ahead and put if go-to is taken and I feel like playing an Ike. then I'll go ahead and choose his second best character of Marth. I think that Marth and Ike are very, very similar to one another. That being said, I think that you get a little bit more of a recovery with Marth than you do with an Ike, but to each their own. So next up we have Ivysaur. I think Ivysaur is a good one to see if you're getting good at the game or not. I don't necessarily want to go ahead and choose them as like my best Pokemon. I think that that has to be Squirtle. So on the topic of Squirtle, I think that Squirtle could be your changing it up type Pokemon trainer. Typically, whenever I am using the Pokemon trainer, I go ahead and use the Squirtle instead of the Ivysaur. I think that Ivysaur has a lot of cool abilities and stuff, and like he's very good at like grappling and recovering. But when it comes to like Squirtle, he's that annoying character. If you like, you can get into the shell, go back and forth. He has a couple of his water ball things, I don't know what you want to call them, that he can be super annoying, and I just think that Squirtle is the OP character of the Pokemon trainer group. So next up here we have Jigglypuff. I'm going to go ahead and put Jigglypuff in my if go-to's taken. It's one of those characters that probably started out right here and then it like gradually elevated to where it's up here. Now, if you're able to use the sleep ability with Jigglypuff, there is a guaranteed knockout. And I can probably hit that 1 out of 3 attempts, which doesn't sound like a great like hit rate, but when you're Jigglypuff, that's a pretty good hit rate. That is really, really hard to hit and be so accurate with, especially because a lot of people see them floating in or see Jigglypuff floating in and they think, oh, I got a free shot on her, and then you sleep and automatically knocked off the map. It's definitely like a type of a bitch character where don't be stupid, like don't pick Jigglypuff as your go-to character. She's really fast and has like a couple of good moves, but ultimately, I mean, I would think that you have to be really good at the game to be good with Jigglypuff. Next up is King Dedede. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in your changing it up characters. One of those heavy hitting characters. You have to be very good with not having to move around the map a lot. He has a very cool ability where he can jump up out of frame, so you kind of lose track of where he is, but then he comes like storming down, similar to like that Wario fart animation. And if he lands on you, it's a pretty good knockout. And then he has this charge up ability with his mallet that if he lands it, you're pretty much toast. I think that he is a very, very fun character to play with, and I think that's why I'm going to put him in changing it up. He's not my go-to. He's not at my go-to if my go-to's taken, but he is someone fun to play with for a change of pace. Next up, we have Kirby. I'm going to go ahead and put Kirby in the see if you're good. I know a lot of people like to use Kirby. I typically don't unless I'm having someone who is like super annoying and they're just trying to, you know, do that ice climber type thing. Kirby allows the flexibility to stay hovering over the floor of the map long enough to be able to counteract that type of a play. Plus the like sucking up animation and then falling off the map, spitting them out when it's really, really low to the ground, and then you go ahead and recover back to the top, I think is really, really funny. Next up, it looks like we have Link. So I'm going to put Link in the don't choose. I only put him there because I don't ever play with the character. Every time I played with him, I just get absolutely decimated. So like I don't really see him as like one of the best type of the characters to play with. And so I'm just not going to talk too much about him. I know that he's for other people, but for me, it's just not it. Lucario, I'm going to go ahead and put in the changing it up. So Lucario is one of those players that I never really played with until I did start playing with him. And I was like, damn, this guy's kind of good, but he also has a couple of faults. He has a really, really cool ability to kind of like teleport, and that teleport is super useful when you have fast type players. And he can be super annoying to try and track, especially when he keeps on disappearing on the map. Next up, we have Lucas. So Lucas, I'm going to go ahead and put the see if you're not good. I don't necessarily think that Lucas is a good character, although I will say that his counterpart of Ness is one of my go-to characters. So Ness, I mean, it does make sense. I used to play college baseball, and having Ness with a baseball bat power-up is kind of insane. And then he's also got that really cool ability. I don't know necessarily what it's called, but it's kind of like a ball shoots out of his head, and it's attached to him, creating like an electric shockwave, if you will. And if you land back onto Ness, it actually creates like this tunneling effect. And if you land it on someone, it's very, very deadly. So I've gotten pretty good at that, especially when it comes to having to use that to recover. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and put Ness in my go-to and Lucas down in the not so much. I think that that's mostly just because when I'm choosing between the two, I just don't ever see a need to play Lucas over Ness, so that's why I don't play with him too much. Next up is Luigi. I'm going to go ahead and put Luigi up here in if my go-to's taken. He's one of those fun characters to play with. He's got like a really stupid animation where he's like, and he tries to like headbutt you, and then he's got that really, really dumb like running chop, like where he's like, you know, it's so stupid, but it is very, very fun to play with. He's got like those annoying green glowing balls that he throws at people, similar to the Mario fireballs. And I'm gonna go ahead and put Mario in the see if you're good category. I've played against people who are insane with him. I can't seem to figure him out. The uppercut punch is really, really powerful, but every time I use it, my recovery downward just puts me in a position where I am just allowing my opponents to just tee up and absolutely shit on me. So I don't think that Mario is as good of a character as Luigi, in my personal opinion. Meta Knight, I'm going to go ahead and put in the changing it up. However, I will say for a while it was a go-to character for me, and then my go-to character if my go-to is taken, and now it's just kind of in a changing it up pattern. He's really fun to play with. He's got some really high damaging moves, but at the same token, it can be kind of repetitive. It can be kind of annoying to play with. And after all, there are just some other types of characters that are more fun aesthetically to play with than Meta Knight. So Mr. Gaiman Watch is going to be up in my go-tos. Mr. Gaiman Watch is, again, one of those type bitch characters where he just has like this frying pan. He's constantly throwing like eggs, bacon, all that kind of stuff at you. And then he has this hammer where if you land on a 9, then it's pretty much a guaranteed knockout. He's got a really cool, he's one of those characters that if you know how to manipulate his movement, he can be super annoying to play against. His recovery is awesome because he's got like this parachute that he can float back to. He's got this annoying type fan thing that if you get a character stuck in the animation, you can pretty much deal a lot of damage in a short amount of time. He's a very fun character to play with, and I just think that he has a lot to offer that is very unique compared to some of the other characters on this list. Next up is Olimar. I'm going to put Olimar in the don't ever use. I know some people are extremely good with Olimar. That's not me. Olimar to me is one of those characters that has his little minion radish things or whatever that he throws at people, and then if he runs out, he just like respawns all of them. I've never really gotten the sense of him being a good character by any means, but that being said, I'm probably just missing a certain thing here or there, and that's why I am not able to play super well with him. Next up is Peach. I'm going to go ahead and put Peach in the if my go-to is taken. She has that devastating frying pan, and then when she's like, I don't know what it's called, like pirouettes or like spins in a circle, then she's able to go ahead and get players stuck in that animation, dealing a lot of damage. She's got those radish things that she can go ahead and throw at people. It's really, really fun to play with her, and she's got a super good recovery with her umbrella. I just think that she is one of those diamond in the rough characters that more people don't necessarily know how good she truly is. Pikachu is for sure one of the go-to characters. His lightning bullet is one of the most annoying things in the game, and one of the best qualities about the Thunderbolt is that even if someone hits you while you do the Thunderbolt, the Thunderbolt will still end up dealing damage to the opponent if they come near it. So it is a really cool animation. He's super annoying to play against because he's got those little type of shocks that he can send down the map, and then they continue for like a good like 50 yards, it seems like. And then his teleporting back to the map when he's recovering is very useful. He's a fast character, and like I said earlier, I love to play with fast characters. Next up is Pit. So I'm going to go ahead and put Pit into changing it up. He was definitely one of those characters that I was kind of putting up in this category for a very long time. However, after kind of like having my way with Ike and Marth, I started to use Pit less and less. And I think that he's just gradually fallen into this changing it up. He's got a cool animation to recover since he's got wings. and like I don't know, he has a lot to offer that the other two sword fighting type characters do not have to offer. However, that being said, it seemed like they put wings on Ike, and that was pretty much it. Next up, Pokemon Trainer. So I'm going to put Pokemon Trainer right in the middle of the three. I think that that's fair. Not going to spend too much time on that. Rob is one of those characters that I play with if one of my go-tos is taken. He is a very good character. He has a couple of really cool abilities where he can charge up his laser vision. He's got a cool animation where if you hit someone and then he turns upside down and does these little afterburner things that they can go shooting into the sky, and I think that that is a really cool thing. And he's got a really good recovery too. He can be super annoying to play with, especially because he is in fact a robot. He's got very quirky type movement, and it is super fun to play with from time to time. Next up is Samus. Samus is probably going to be in my if go-to's taken. He's got those really annoying rocket bullet things that you can go ahead and control as he's shooting it, and it'll go like this, and like you can be really annoying, especially on some of those bigger maps where someone is just trying to like make you come down to them. It's really fun because then you could just, you know, you could just shoot the bullet down and then have it go around and then make that person's life a living hell down there without actually having to go down and actually fight them, which is what they want. So he can be super fun to play with, but at the same time, I just think that the characters up here are my mains, and he's probably closer to like up here. It's not fair to put them all the way at the back, but again, these aren't really ordered in any particular order other than how they're showing up down here below. Next up, you have Chic. So Chic is probably going to be one of those characters down here. I don't really use him a ton. I don't think that he's too different than, you know, like the Zelda right here. So I was going to put these two down here like that. I don't know. I never really got to playing with either one of these characters. So I'm not going to put them in the don't ever use. I'm just going to put them in the see if you're good or not, because every time that I play with them, I go ahead and suck. And I don't think that that's really indicative of the character itself, but it's more about like how often I end up playing with them. Next up is Snake. I freaking hate Snake so much. My friend Josh, he actually plays with Snake a lot, and he really, really likes it. He uses that little mortar thing to go ahead and create some type of a catapulting action or animation that makes me go flying off the map. He's got this really quick type of movement. He does like taekwondo and like jujitsu and all kinds of stuff. He can be very annoying. And then he's got those mines that he places on the map. Very annoying, especially when you're not paying attention to him. You land on one and then you go flying off. So he's definitely one of those characters that I like to use as changing it up, but I've grown to hate him just because I face off against him so often. Sonic is also a good changing it up character. He's super fast. He has a couple of cool things here and there, but overall, I think that he could be a little bit more in the game. He has a really cool thing where he can jump up in the air, and then he like spins, and then if you land on someone, it does a pretty good amount of damage. But overall, I don't really see a ton of difference between like a Sonic and a Falco and Fox type of a character, but that's just my opinion. Toon Link I'm going to put down here. I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't care for the character at all. Sorry. Wario. So Wario I'm going to put in the if go-to's taken. I love the fact that he can quite literally shit on someone. It is super fun to do. I think that he's one of those like characters that you can just be an absolute menace with. He's got that stupid motorcycle that he can throw at people. He puts people in his mouth and chomps down on them. He farts on them. Like, he is such a stupid character. But if you get really good with him, he'll just make you laugh the entire time that you're playing with him. And for that reason, he's got to be one of those like go-to, if go-to's taken type characters for me. Next up, we have Wolf. I'm going to put Wolf down here. Now, keep in mind that since I primarily play with a Falco and Fox most of the time, I never really got around to playing with Wolf a lot. I just thought that Wolf was like knockoff Fox, and I just don't really play with him a ton. So if you have differing opinions, go ahead and shoot those down in the comments. Yoshi is going to go ahead and be a changing it up character for me. I don't really see a ton of difference between a Yoshi and a Kirby. That being said, I think that Yoshi having his head, like that headbutting animation, plus being able to turn people into eggs is also kind of funny. But I don't know. I don't really see Yoshi as like an OP character. That being said, I know some people are ridiculous with him. I just think that he's more of one of those characters that you're gonna choose to play with if you want to make someone's life a living hell and just like be really annoying. And that's me most of the time. But not everyone can be up here in this list, so Yoshi's gonna have to fall down one. Next up is Zelda. I'm just gonna put that next to these two over here. You have Zero Samus, so I'm just gonna put her next to Samus, and then the Ice Climber at the last. So that's going to do it for this tier list. As always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think I messed up really bad on, and let me know what you totally agree on. So go ahead and comment down below your top 3 characters that you love and your top 3 characters that you absolutely hate or don't at all. But as always, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!